Our dream turned into a nightmare. That's what 250 Subway franchise owners wrote in a desperate letter to corporate. $1.4 million in fines. And then, imagine finding out the bread you've been eating isn't legally bread. Sounds crazy, right? But in 2020, that's exactly what happened to Subway. These are just a few of the scandals that brought America's biggest sandwich chain to its knees, and today we're exposing them all. Here's a weird one for you. In 2020, Ireland's Supreme Court ruled that Subway's bread isn't legally bread. According to Irish law, bread can't contain more than 2% sugar compared to flour weight. Subway's bread, it packed 5 times that amount, a whopping 10% sugar content. This came out when a Subway franchisee in Ireland, Buckfinders Limited, tried getting a tax refund. They argued their bread should be considered a staple food to avoid a 9.2% VAT tax. Big mistake. The court dug into their recipe and found something shocking. Every single roll of their bread contained 5 times more sugar than what legally defines bread in Ireland. Subway tried defending themselves, saying Subway's bread is, of course, bread. We have been baking fresh bread in our stores for more than 3 decades. They now offer 9 different types of bread, including gluten-free options. But guess what? They still haven't changed that immense sugar content. Sometimes a bread by any other name is actually a cake. In 2020, Subway made what might be their most unpopular menu decision ever. They pulled both roast beef and rotisserie chicken from their menu. Why? Simple. They were the most expensive meat options. The backlash was so intense, even their own workers were calling it a stupid move. One particularly angry customer, Joseph the Demon Albanese, took to Twitter, "At Subway, discontinuing rotisserie chicken. Seriously? Your own workers actually said today, do not know why. Stupid move with one of our top sellers." The pressure got so intense that Subway had to bring both meats back in 2021. But they didn't just bring them back, they went fancy. The roast beef returned as USDA Choice Angus roast beef. They even added new chicken options like chicken and bacon ranch and Baja chicken and bacon. Turns out sometimes the customers really do know the best. Before we move on to the rest of the video, could we ask you for a small favor? If you're enjoying the content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It costs you absolutely nothing, but it's a really huge help to us. Thanks. So, in 2014, Subway decided to make a pizza. Because when you think pizza, you definitely think of Subway, right? They called it the Flatizza, a flatbread pizza that started at $2 for $5. On paper, it sounded promising, an exciting combination of warm marinara sauce and bubbly mozzarella cheese on a toasty flatbread. But in reality, not so much. The price eventually jumped to $3.50 each, but that wasn't the real problem. Reviews were brutal. One critic gave it 6.25 out of 10, comparing it to Ragu Pizza Quick Sauce. The Flatizza disappeared faster than your New Year's resolution, but if you're really craving a pizza-like sub, there's a secret menu item. Just ask for marinara sauce, pepperoni, mozzarella cheese, parmesan cheese, and your choice of veggies on toasted Italian bread. At least that one actually looks like something you'd want to eat. Sometimes it's better to stick to what you know. In Subway's case, maybe just stick to sandwiches. Ever gone to Subway craving that specific sauce only to find out it's gone? Well, you're not alone. Subway has been quietly killing off sauces left and right. Italian dressing? Gone. Sriracha? Disappeared. And Caesar dressing? Let's just say it's on life support. According to one employee on Reddit, our store has not discontinued its Caesar dressing, but we barely sell one sandwich with it per week if it's bottled, so it's often the one dressing that expires and gets tossed out. Some customers were so desperate, they started online petitions to bring back their favorite sauces. One petition on change.org tried to bring back barbecue and Caesar sauces in India. That petition got a dry response of exactly 15 signatures. Remember Subway breakfast? Well, that's exactly the problem. By 2018, Subway realized something pretty embarrassing. Over 40% of their customers didn't even stop there for breakfast, and 19% didn't even know Subway served breakfast. A Bloomberg study revealed the brutal truth. Subway couldn't compete with breakfast giants like Taco Bell, Dunkin' Donuts, and McDonald's. But the real problem was those eggs. They shipped to franchisees as weird floppy discs that looked about as appetizing as a rubber doormat. Subway's response: make breakfast optional for franchisees. James Walker, vice president of Subway North America, tried to spin it nicely. We are continuously evaluating every consumer touchpoint and making adjustments as needed. Translation: our breakfast was a massive failure. While other chains were crushing the breakfast game with fresh eggs and crispy bacon, Subway quietly retreated from the morning battle. Turns out, when your eggs look like they belong in a science experiment rather than a sandwich, people tend to skip breakfast. $5 Footlong. Remember that catchy phrase that wouldn't leave your head? Well, in 2020, Subway tried bringing back their famous deal, but the reactions were below the expectations. Only 71% of franchisees participated, and it lasted just a few weeks. Restaurant Business magazine blamed the timing. Launching during a pandemic when people were losing their jobs wasn't exactly brilliant. But here's the thing. While they were pushing this deal, they were also fighting lawsuits claiming their footlongs weren't actually foot long. Some subs measured only 11 to 11.5 inches. The lawsuit got rejected though, and the lawyer's comment is pure gold. It was difficult to prove monetary damages because everybody ate the evidence. These days, most subs cost $6 or more. Why? Rising labor costs, operation expenses, and good old inflation. The $5 footlong dream is dead, and it's probably never coming back. Sometimes the price of doing business means killing your most famous promotion. In 2021, Subway faced what might be their weirdest lawsuit yet. Karen Denoa and Nalima Amin claimed Subway's tuna wasn't actually tuna. They said it was a mixture of various concoctions that do not constitute tuna. The lawsuit claimed they tested multiple samples from different Subway stores. Their lawyer, Shalini Dogra, dropped this bombshell. The ingredients were not tuna and not fish. But here's the catch, they never revealed what tests they did or what they actually found. Subway fired back hard, their spokesperson said. Subway delivers 100% cooked tuna to its restaurants, which is mixed with mayonnaise. The chain even promised to vigorously defend itself against these baseless efforts. The case targets every tuna sandwich sold since 2017, and there have been no updates to the lawsuit since then. Ever wondered what it's like to own a Subway? Well, according to over 250 franchisees, it's a nightmare. They wrote an angry letter to Elizabeth DeLuca, the widow of Subway's co-founder. Our dream of business ownership turned into a nightmare. Subway's new rules say stores must stay open during snowstorms, power outages, and even terrorist attacks. You want to close more than once per year without an act of God? All right, but you might lose your store. Don't like these rules? Your royalty fees jump to 10%. The franchisees had 6 simple requests, including the right to source fresh vegetables daily. But the shocking part, Subway initiates 29 litigation actions per 1,000 franchisees. Compare that to just 1.4 actions for McDonald's, Dunkin', Pizza Hut, Burger King, and Wendy's combined. Better think twice before starting your own Subway franchise. In 2014, Subway had to explain why their bread contained azodicarbonamide. What's that? Oh, it's just a chemical also found in yoga mats. Yes, yoga mats. But the catch, this chemical was in about 500 other common food products found by the Environmental Working Group. And Subway just happened to be the unlucky one that got caught. The pressure got intense, and it turned into its own PR nightmare. Subway had no choice but to remove it. And just when they thought the bread drama was over, the Irish court case about sugar content arrived. Sometimes the secret ingredient isn't love, it's industrial chemicals. And finally, Subway's biggest scandal ever. For years, Jared Fogle was the face of Subway. He is the guy that lost massive weight eating their sandwiches. He was their healthy eating success story of the early 2000s. But in 2015, everything came crashing down. The FBI raided Fogle's home after his Jared Foundation director was caught trading inappropriate photos of minors. The investigation revealed something horrifying. Fogle was involved in child exploitation and had made arrangements for child prostitution across state lines. The numbers are shocking. $1.4 million in restitution, $50,000 in asset forfeiture, $175,000 in fines, and 15 years and 8 months in prison. Subway immediately cut ties and ended all marketing materials with Fogle. But here's the irony. The man who helped make Subway synonymous with healthy eating turned out to be their biggest failure so far. He's still behind bars today and will be under watch even after release. As you can see, sometimes your greatest success story can later become the darkest chapter of your journey. From questionable ingredients to controversial spokespersons, these scandals changed how we look at the sandwich giant forever. Will you still go to Subway after hearing these stories? Why or why not? Let us know in the comments. And while you're here, don't miss our other tasty videos packed with intriguing food stories. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.